So I'm just going to briefly talk about the little book that most of you have on the restoration of all things, and it's a topic that God's been talking to me for a long time, and most recently I managed to put it into some sort of written form. It's been translated into Mizo, and we've got several copies, 1,000 copies in Mizo, and a YouTube on the same. So the Mizos have this this idea. Okay, so my testimony is that 9 years ago, oh no, it's probably 1997, God asked me to pray for the Mizos, which I did for 9 years. I've been involved with Bet Israel over there for a long time, and I also stayed with the Mizo Identity, Israel Identity researcher. My son married my translator. I have 3 Mizo grandchildren now. It was this experience of living in Mizoram that made me see the pattern or the blueprint of using the lost sheep of the house of Israel to plant the message that the promised king had come as Jesus and the prophets had said. Okay, all these ancient Israelites had been found by disciples of Jesus, the Karen, the Kutchin, the Lahu, the Wa, the Mizos, we can name quite a few. So all of these people, I believe, are lost sheep of House of Israel, and all of these people were found by the King of the Jews, Jesus Christ. And so I don't think that's an accident. So when I was reading the scriptures, this was the pattern he told us to go and search for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. The people he was talking to were the house of Judah, and they understood what Jesus was saying to them. We're Judah, but Jesus is telling us to go out into the world and look for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. In other words, the other 10 tribes of Israel. And so the pattern is that, and I'll just go on to my next one. So there's a pattern, there's a purpose, and there's examples. So first of all, I'll talk about the pattern. So the pattern is, there is a legal aspect to why God needs the restoration of the whole kingdom of Israel to achieve the restoration of the earth. Okay? God gave Adam and Eve authority to create as they were made in his image. God owned and renovated the earth after the previous inhabitants. God passed the authority to rule and reign onto Adam and Eve, but Satan usurped that authority by way of deception. Yeshua, Jesus, was offered that authority by Satan in return for worship, but declined and won it back through his sinless sacrifice. Yeshua gave that authority back to mankind. Mankind, by way of becoming sons of the living God through faith in Yeshua, is tasked, is told to bring about the restoration of all things. And that's as written in Acts 3, verses 19 to 21. So that, I believe, is the pattern. Okay. So why is the restoration of the kingdom of Israel part of the restoration of all things? Because, it's just a Christian message after all. We need to go take the gospel to everywhere. So God had to start again after Noah and the flood. He picked Abraham to outwork his redemption plan. Abram, before he was named Abraham, was promised to become a father of many nations. So Abraham means father. Abraham means father of many nations. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob would father the 12 tribes of Israel. And Abraham's seed promised to be a blessing on all families of the earth. So that's what I believe. His seed's going to be right throughout the earth. Under David, they would form a kingdom. So King David would have the whole of the house of Israel under his kingship. But after Solomon, it would be split into 2 kingdoms. One kingdom would carry the DNA for the future Messiah, who would win back the authority as stated above. So we're talking about Jesus, Yeshua, Yeshua, okay? The other kingdom, the northern kingdom of Israel, would be sent to the ends of the earth to walk upon and take possession of the earth. I'll just repeat that. The northern kingdom, the 10 tribes, would be sent to the ends of the earth to walk upon and take possession of the earth. Remember when God said to Abraham, everywhere you put your feet? So in other words, God's saying the same thing to Abraham's descendants, everywhere you put your feet. Okay. So the Great Commission connects the house of Judah's disciples to the house of Israel at the ends of the earth. So the house of Judah, through Jesus, was told to go to the ends of the earth and make disciples of all nations. Okay. This is the way that God's redeeming the whole earth. And it is also the way that he's restoring the kingdom to Israel, which is what the disciples ask in Acts 1. Is it at this time that you will restore the kingdom to Israel? And Jesus says to them, it's not for you to know things that are in my Father's hands, but go from Jerusalem to Judea to Samaria to the ends of the earth. He is telling them what they need to do to bring about the restoration of all things. In other words, go and find the lost sheep of the house of Israel in whatever nation they end up and tell them about Jesus. Okay, what's the purpose? I probably already talked about that. Let me keep going. Why is the restoration of the kingdom of Israel part of the restoration of all things? The church is actually full of ancient Israelites, found repeatedly and consistently by the gospel of grace throughout the last 2,000 years to the ends of the earth in multiple continents wherever they had migrated. Okay. The Israel of God gains ever-increasing numbers of both Judah and Israelites, now known by many other names. Okay, they're not called Israel anymore. They're called by all names that they have called themselves. Yeshua commanded us in Matthew 28, go to the ends of the earth and create disciples of all nations. When asked about the restoration, he, in Acts, as I just said, he said, go from Jerusalem to Judea to Samaria to the ends of the earth. It is how the whole restoration comes about. It is by going and finding the lost sheep of the house of Israel everywhere that they've been, that this restoration of the kingdom of Israel, because that's the question, comes about. Okay, but in verse 8, which is like the verse straight after that, Yeshua says to us, but wait till the power of the Holy Spirit comes upon us. That's why the Holy Spirit's so important. And we were just talking about that before. The gospel finds good soil in the remnant of the house of Israel, wherever they are. Okay, so wherever Christianity explodes in a people group, that's where you'll find people of the house of Israel. And so that's my thesis in this this book. Yeshua said, I am the good shepherd, my sheep hear my voice. I have other sheep that are not of this fold. I must bring them also. They too will listen to my voice, and there will be one flock and one shepherd. So here's that reunification of the two again into one. And we were talking about that earlier this morning. Okay. So the Jewish disciples expected to go and find the lost sheep of Israel when they went out. And my question is, did that happen? Okay, so I want to answer that now. So here's some examples. Okay. In the first century, St. Thomas found Israelite communities in Taxil in India, and also in southern India, all along the coastlines. And he set up many Christian churches in that place. And when you read the early writings about Thomas, Thomas knows that he's gone to Israelites. In fact, they're still speaking some form of Aramaic, and Thomas can speak to them in Aramaic. He's told them that the Messiah's come, and they all go, yes, we're expecting the Messiah. Thomas is saying he's come. It's Yeshua, Jesus Christ, the promised one. And so he sets up all these churches in very quick succession when he gets to Syria. And that's because he's going to Israelites. in the 1st century, Paul follows the coastlines of the Mediterranean into Britain, where the Israelite Celts had gone. And so we know when the Behistun stone was translated, that we know that the sons of Omri, King Omri, one of the kings of the northern kingdom, the Israelites were named after him. They became Kumri or Kimri, sons of Omri. And so when we found that name, when the historians were able to translate that ancient stone, they realized that the Celtic people were Israelites at that point. And so, you know, with the researchers that I'm involved in, we've been able to now find out where the Israelites went to when they went to the West. And so they went through the Celtic migrations. They were also the Saxons that went into Europe and Britain, and they also received the good news. This is why people from Wales and Scotland came to people in this part of the world, because they too were Israelites, you know, and would have known that 2,000 years ago and have probably lost that memory, and are just working out the prophecies in the Bible without knowing it. So Dr. Nagami, who will speak after us, he will tell us how Israelites from Central Asia took their traditions and the message of Jesus to Japan. So he'll be doing that straight after this. Traditions are still found within Shintoism. Missionaries in the 1830s found the Karen had many scriptural references. Their god's name was Yuwa. Am I saying that right? Yuwa, which I think is very close to Yehovah, which is the Hebrew name. The Chiang in China in the 1920s was found by Reverend Torrance. He found all sorts of Israelite customs among people near Chengdu, and that colony had been there since the 2nd century BC. That marries in with the video that we just watched. The Mizo Kuki Chin in northeast India were found by Welsh missionaries in the 1900s. And all tribes with a lost book story in Burma until now still receives the gospel of Jesus Christ, and that's because of who they were. And so that's the end of my presentation. Thank you.